Stump the pastor.
Hey Justin, quick question for you. If you've ever struggled reading the Bible cover to cover before, what would you recommend as an alternative to that so you can try to get through it in a different way? Thanks.
Corey, this is a great question. First and foremost, I want to say you are not alone in this. There are countless numbers of people, including myself, who have the best of intentions, who say, we're going to start reading the Bible, and if you're like me, you make it through Genesis, and then you do Exodus, and then by the time you get to Leviticus, you say, oh, I'm done with this, and then a year or two later, 2 years later, you probably try again. Here's something helpful to keep in mind. The word Bible, biblos, means books. Why that is important is when we open up the Bible, we're actually opening up a series of books. Like a library. You go into a library and there's different sections of material. When we go to the Bible, there's different types of material we are reading. So for instance, there's narrative, there's wisdom literature, there's poetry, there's prophetic literature, there's letters. There's all these sorts of different materials, and so reading them straight through can be challenging to figure out where are we at in this whole story. For me, what I have found is if I can know the general story, the narrative of Scripture, it helps me understand where everything belongs. And so, what I would suggest doing is, if for someone who really wants to get to know Scripture better, to start there. A couple of resources for you would be the Action Bible. That's a graphic novel. For those of you who aren't familiar with that term, that's a comic book. It's a very thick graphic novel, and again, that sounds like it's written for children, but it's really not. It gives you a sense of the overarching story of Scripture. The other resource would be the Book of God, written by the late Walter Wangerin. A well-known author, great writer. Again, it's not a translation, but it gives you the Bible in story form. And so it helps you figure out the whole, like the arc of from creation to slavery to the parting of the Red Sea. And it just takes you on to the journey to the Promised Land. And it just continues on like that, so you know the arc of the story. Last but not least, I would say this: when you're actually reading the Bible, people always ask me what translations they should be using. The Bible you read is always better than the one that sits on your shelf. So find one that's easy to read and makes sense to you. One of the favorites for people I know is The Message by Eugene Peterson. Again, it's not a verbatim translation, but it's easy to read, it's engaging, it's in modern language. I find it terribly, terribly helpful. So again, Corey, great question, and thanks for playing Stump the Pastor. If you have a question, and anybody has a question, want to send that to me, I'm hoping to release one of these answers every Friday. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Stump the pastor.